we are on this episode of the DTP Show. Super excited to have. I should have put OG in your description, Amanda, because you really are. You are a DTP OG, and I can't wait to dive into this conversation. But first, let me just, let everyone know what this show is all about. So the DTP Show is the Design to Profit show. It is where I like to highlight our Design to Profit students and showcase their journeys, showcase, everything they've been able to do in their design business, and hopefully offer some inspiration to those designers who are out there, maybe in that current situation, just to show them what is possible. Because I think we don't really know what is possible in our design businesses until we can see how far, someone else has come. So that's what the DTP show is all about, inspiring, empowering, motivating other designers to build that design business of their dreams. And today we are going to talk to Amanda, one of my OG DTP students. Literally, you were in the first cohort back in 2009. Not 2019. And so let me have you introduce yourself. Let us know, where you're from, about your business, and then we'll dive into your story.
Okay, cool. So my name is Amanda. I am based out of Michigan right now. I'm currently just south of Flint, and I own the Launch Hive Creative, which is a little design studio. Just me. Actually, I just hired my first person. So we work with a lot of creatives who just want to get their branding and website design together. Kind of what we do over here.
Okay, love it. And congratulations on your expanding. That's amazing. So good. Okay, so clearly, you're doing some things in your business. You're growing. You're expanding. I would love to let's just take it back to 2019, and can you just paint the picture of where your business was prior to coming into the program?
Yeah, so in 2019, I was still very, very new. I was teaching myself everything that I know. So I know you're self-taught, so am I. So I was just, I don't know, watching YouTube videos, listening to people who probably didn't even really know what they were talking about, but they knew more than me. So I was like, okay, let me just do this, do that. And I honestly really didn't have a business, really. I was still working a normal 9 to 5. I had a baby, all that stuff. I was just trying to figure out how I could make this work. Honestly, I don't remember how I came across you or your platform, but I did. And at that time, I thought, okay, this is such a big investment for me. At that time, it was like, can I do it? I was going back and forth for the longest time. And I was like, okay. So you were like the first investment I ever made. I was like, I know nothing. And I think that my first investment being somebody who was in the design business, knew what what it took to run a design business. I think that was like the best decision, as opposed to working with somebody who knew nothing about design and they were just like a coach,
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it was when I found you. I didn't really have a business. I was just, can I swear, pulling shit out of my ass?
Of course, we cuss on here.
Okay. I was just like making stuff up, trying to, figure things out. And then when I found you and I got into the program, I think it was just me and one other girl at that point, then you really taught me the foundations of the back end, how to, do certain things. And I was like, okay, I can do this. Now that I have the direction and I know what the hell I'm doing, I could do this. And we've been going ever since.
Yes, love it. So, okay, you made several amazing points. One, it was a big investment. Two, you didn't even really feel like you had a real business. So, can you kind of talk through that? Because that first investment, I totally get it. It's scary, right? And especially when you're new and there there isn't the consistency or, really the income. Just there's a lot of things to consider. So what was it, if you can remember, because it was a long time ago, like what was it that made you say, I'm going to do
Yeah, I think it was, you really spoke to the struggles that I was having at that time. Like, figuring out how to set up the back end, figuring out how to get clients and have an actual process. So I was like, okay, like I literally need all of this and I'm just gonna do it and I'm just gonna cross my fingers and hopes that it works out, because I was working a 9 to 5, but I was still broke as fuck. And I'm like, okay, I really have to be smart here, but I just did it anyway. So after that, in learning some of the strategies that you taught, I was then able to leave my 9 to 5 within 9 months of like really implementing all those strategies and all the stuff we learned through our time together.
Yeah, so you was just like, I'm just gonna take this leap of faith, and yeah, we're just gonna see what
Yeah.
happens.
I don't remember. I might have put it on a credit card. Honestly, I don't remember at this point, but I remember I was like shitting my pants. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this better work. I
Uh,
better learn something. I hope, but it did.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. I still have one of the screenshots that you sent me. It was, the program has changed so much since you've been in it. It was
Yeah.
a 6 week program back then, and now it's a year program. So totally, like, so much has changed. But the core, the foundation, like, all of that, it remains the same. So you went through the program, and I want to say we talked about pricing. It was about week 3 or 4. And I remember you sending me a DM on Instagram when you landed your first client at your new rate. And you were like, no, like, I didn't have to explain myself, no pushback, no nothing. Like, your mind was blown.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that moment, if you can recall, like that high ticket client that first
Yeah.
high ticket client that you got?
I think that, yeah, I was like, people actually do this and it's this easy. And I'm like, okay, like this is doable.
Yeah.
And I was just, yeah, dumbfounded. I'm like, okay. But it solidified that I could take this to another level and make this a career, a real business, if I kept going. So I think I was like literally in shock, but it gave me like that push to keep going, right? Or
Yeah.
to keep showing up, to not be scared of the prices, because that was validation that people will pay it. They won't question me. Okay, perfect.
Yes. I love that. So,
Yeah.
okay, you are, landing high ticket clients, or the highest, I'm sure, like, that was years ago, almost 3 years ago.
I
Jesus.
know.
So, like, I know you've gone up since then. Let's kind of think about that. Even now, so you came into the program, you learned a lot of things, you implemented, you grew, and now here we are a good 2, 3 years later, and you're continuing, like, you're still in business, you're still growing, you're hiring.
Mhm.
Like, how is life different? How is your business different now because of that initial investment that you made?
Yeah, I think that during that time, again, like you said, things have changed. So, but you really went in depth with like how to present brand identities to clients, like how to set up your forms and all that stuff in Debsado, which I still use to this day. Like how, like those foundation pieces, like how I should have like that experience for the clients. And now, even to this day, our process is always evolving, but I am so proud of our process and like the experience that we give them. And I think that learning that stuff so early on, because I see sometimes how people like present their stuff or don't present their stuff, they just do whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that like really helped me in the beginning and really just set the tone for how I wanted us to like have a reputation, have that experience for our clients. And even now, like I said, I'm super proud of it. It's like seamless. I always get compliments on it. So I think that you really set me up for that.
Yeah, setting you up for success. And you're still using the form, still, of course, obviously, your process elevates. It will continue to change as you continue to grow. So that's to be expected, but we set you up with that foundation, and just the fact that you're continuing to utilize those resources and build upon what you developed in DP is, I love that so much, because it is a big investment, but it's not like, oh, 6 weeks for you, or 12 weeks now, or 12 months now. It's not just, it doesn't end after that point. Like, you're able
Yeah.
to keep growing and keep, you know, building, and you don't need me. Right? Like, some programs, I feel like you kind of need the coach in order to get the results. And that's kind of, I guess, segues me into another conversation. As we do grow, we continue to invest in ourselves. We continue
Hmm.
to invest in our businesses. So I'm just interested if you're open to sharing any other experiences you have had investing in your business, and how does it compare, or not really compare, but just line up, to
Yeah.
the experience that you had in DTP.
Yeah. So I think like a year and a half or two, it was like literally right when COVID had hit, or yeah, it was like right when it hit. I was like, okay, I'm ready to invest again and kind of learn a little bit more. So I invested in another designer. So I was like, okay, it worked out for me for before. Let's stick with like this route, designer, having a course and all that jazz. So I was like, okay. So then I invested again. It was like another high ticket, but it was only like, it was a few weeks, like 6 to 8 weeks or some sort. And I felt like in the beginning, I knew like I would already know a lot of whatever was being covered, but there was little pieces like within like the marketing aspect of the program that I was like, okay, I want to learn more about this. So even there is an overlap, okay, I'm gonna get a little tidbit out of it. So I just feel like I knew a lot already,
Yeah.
not to sound like like selfish or anything like that, but I was like, okay, I already know all of this. And some of the other people in the group, it was more like very beginner, and I wasn't at that level anymore. And some of like the strategies that were being taught, if I reuse them in a different way, she kind of like would give backlash and like call me out nonchalantly like on social media, and I'm like, this is fucking weird and not the same type of experience that I had before. And I felt like it was just like a total waste of my time and the investment I made. So that was not a very good dis- decision to make. And throughout that course, too, it was like really drilled to pick a niche. And
Mm,
I know this word is like so, it annoys me because now, and I don't know what you teach or what you believe, but I think that you can have a broad who that you help as long as you have a specific what that you help them with. But when I was in that program, I was like, okay, let me just nail down this niche. So I switched from like a broad female service provider to coaches. So I changed so much about my business and content and messaging and all that to gear towards coaches. And I didn't have like a client what seemed like a million years. And I was like, okay, is it COVID? Is it this? Like, what's going on? Then I started getting really like into my head about my business, and I couldn't figure out what the issue was. So now we're done with the program, like that's over with. And I'm like, okay, I'm struggling. And I wasn't struggling when I got into this program. So what the hell?
Yeah.
And then finally, it took forever to click. And I'm like, it's this goddamn niche. Like, why did I do this? Then I flipped back to what I was doing before because I wasn't having an issue. And I've grown exponentially since then. So it took me a while, like 8 months, to figure out what the issue was. I'm like, it's this niche. I developed like this whole program for coaches and didn't do any market research, none of that. And I used so much of my energy and time, and I was like, okay, finally, like I said, it clicked. I don't know what made it click. And I was like, nope, back to the drawing board. I felt like I was kind of starting over. And then I felt like people, like, she keeps flip flopping. Like, are they going to think I'm not professional, or like I don't know what I'm doing because I keep making all these changes? So then I was very like concerned about that, but it worked out. So proof that you don't have to be in one little tight knit group if that's not something that you feel like is working or aligned with what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I appreciate you sharing that because all programs are not created equal. All coaches are not created equal. And not to say there's just programs for people. There's the right program and then there's not the right program.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to hear your insight, having gone through, DTP, having that experience, and then, you were ready to level up, you joined another program and it just failed to, hit the mark for you and what you were needing. What advice can you share for anyone who's considering any program, right? Because you've kind of had both experiences, one that worked and one that didn't necessarily work. So, what advice do you have to give to someone who, these are the things that they're thinking about? Like, what would you say to them as they're kind of weighing their options?
Yeah, and I feel like everybody is a different buyer type, right? But for me now, I feel like, marketing is still marketing, and they can be saying all the right things that hit the point, but maybe the program still doesn't hit the point. So I think that being able to ask your questions and have a conversation with them before, like, they're like, I'm not even going to give you, like, I'm not going to reply to your message or give you the time of day because you haven't invested in me yet or you're not like in a program. I think that if they're able to really help you work through maybe the doubts that you're having before even making that step, is amazing, because I'm now in a mastermind currently, and it was an even bigger investment. And I was like, shitting a brick again. And I'm like, okay, can I do this? And I feel like I had like PTSD from having a horrible experience with a coach, because now I'm completely hesitant to invest, to work with somebody, because is it going to be a crappy experience? And I voiced that to her and I asked specific questions, and she was really spot on, very supportive, would have those conversations with me. So I think that if you have questions, just watch maybe the way they're showing up, the way that they're speaking, or if you know somebody else has gone through it, have conversations with them. Don't make like a rash decision, even if it sounds amazing. Take a little bit of time. Even if it's, you might make that rash decision because they're like, oh, one more day only to sign up. But if you just found them the day before, unless it really, really feels aligned, like, you know, maybe wait and check them out and figure out if they're the right fit. So just take your time, I would say.
Yeah, I love that. And, just being able to ask those questions before you make an investment, it is very important. And I think that you gave such great advice here, where it's like, watch them, see, because you can tell a lot when you observe, and a lot of us, we don't spend the time to observe, and then there may be some things that we have to deal with because of it. So that was great advice that you just shared. And another kind of point that you made, where you've still invested even after that situation that wasn't, it was less than ideal. And you even mentioned like a little bit of PTSD. Like, that's a real thing, in that, our experiences shape our perceptions about things. So, can you just kind of give us some advice for anyone who also has been through a bad experience? What did you have to do to get to a point to be able to invest in yourself again?
Yeah, I really had to just sit down, figure out like what my goals were, what my next step was, what did I want to do, and what I was like currently struggling with. Because right now, the mastermind is more marketing as opposed to like design stuff. So I'm like now at another phase. I have all of this figured out. Like, now I need help because I've been trying to do this on my own for quite a while now, and I'm still in the same position that I was. So I think it's time to invest. And the person I invested with, I've been following for a very long time, and I loved her energy, loved the way she came across, and I wanted to invest, but I've been what I would call a creeper. And we've had this conversation, like, you can be like that creeper in the background, like maybe you're not having those one-on-one conversations, or maybe they don't even know you're there, but you're still paying attention to their content, you're still kind of keeping them out. And finally, and I think that was what helped me make that decision, seeing those receipts. And I know you talk about that a lot too, because she posts a ton of that, like a ton. So I knew there was people who have seen results, who have worked with her, and it wasn't like the same ones recycled
Yeah.
over and over. It was all different. And I was like, okay, like I'm getting my proof. I have the good vibes. She has what I need. I'm going to, and I had those conversations with her in the DMs like before, and I felt confident in what she could do. So I took a leap of faith,
Yes.
and it's paid off. So I'm glad that I did. Um, but again, I think just kind of sitting with it, kind of really evaluating where you need help, who is like the authority in that industry right now that can help you, and just trusting your lessons that you prior learned to help guide you into the right direction now, I think.
Yeah. Love that. So, letting your lessons empower you rather than hold you back and keep you stuck, and going through
Yeah.
the same thing over and over again. Love that. Such
Mhm.
great advice, Amanda, our OG DTP. Yes, I love that so much. And just the growth that you've had. And even, with some bumps in the road, you're
Mhm.
still, heading down the path that you want to be on, which is beautiful. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Because I know you.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like now I'm at the point, it's like, okay, teach me how to organize the large amount of work that I have, because I can't keep up.
Mm,
And which is really good. And I am just now at a point again where I'm raising prices again,
mhm.
even higher. And again, I have people willing to wait months,
Yeah.
willing to pay this high ticket. And I'm like, okay,
Okay.
this is working, and they're not questioning, anything. So now it's like, okay, again, it's that validation. So I had it in what, 2019 when I did that. And now I've raised my prices several times since then, but this has been the biggest like leap.
Yeah.
And it just validates like they'll wait, they'll pay. You just got to find those people, and there might be some bumps in the road, but you will.
You
Yeah.
will. They're there, and they're waiting. They're literally waiting for someone to be the person that's going to solve all these problems they've been struggling with. And so I'm so proud of you for continuing to keep the progress going, the momentum, and for growing. And a lot of time, I said this on a live a couple of months ago. I was like, really, the difference, like what separates successful people versus unsuccessful people, is the successful people don't quit. They don't give up. Like, they don't let the one thing determine the rest of like what is able to happen for them in the future. It's just a part of the process, and you really are, you're embodying that, and you're seeing the growth. So that's amazing. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. And I think that too, just to mention, because I feel like a lot of people get stuck on like the vanity metrics. When I quit my 9 to 5, I didn't even have like 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
So I feel like not really looking at that, or like thinking that that has anything to do with the way, cause I feel like we've grown slow but steady, slow and steady. You're
Wins
winning
the
the race.
race. Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have 10,000 followers. I still don't. I don't even have 8
Me
or
either. I
5.
don't have
You know
10,000
what I mean?
either.
So none of that matters if
Doesn't.
you're calling out your people. And the fact that we have a very large referral rate, and that has a lot to do with that experience we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
and the stuff that we give our clients. So then they just pass on our information, which is good because you don't have to do a lot of marketing.
Exactly. You're doing the heavy lifting is working with your clients, and
Yeah.
they're able to sing your praises. So yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. I really appreciate you, Amanda, coming on and just giving us an update, because it has been a while. I'm still following you. I'm still loving like everything that's
Yeah.
happening. I see you have, your pre-made templates now with your branding. Like, you're just doing so much. I'm loving it, and I think we're definitely gonna have to do this again just to see,
Yes.
like how everything just continues to evolve and grow, and just be what it is that we want it to be, right?
Right. No, yeah. I'm here for that. I'm here for these meetings every year.
Yeah, a little check-in so we can, and
Yeah.
that's actually something we have the students do. Like, so much has changed since we've been in the program, but we have like monthly reflections now, so you're able to, on a monthly basis, see how much you're growing, see how much you're changing. And that helps. Like, just every time you got validated, those things give you the confidence to keep going, and to charge even more, and to refine your process even more, and to you know be as specific as you are in the results that you're able to help your clients get, and all of that matters. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
before we wrap up, I would love for you to tell the people, where can they find you, where can they connect with you if they just want to say hello, maybe ask you some questions.
Okay, yeah. So we are actually launching our new website on the 25th, but it's thelaunchhive.com. So you can come over there. You can still come there now and chat with us. Instagram, the launch underscore hive. And we're on Pinterest. Pinterest is our jam. You can
Okay.
find us over there too if you want to chat. Yeah.
Yes, I'll have to check you out on Pinterest. That's just one platform I've never been able to. I'm just like, I can't. So I'm gonna check you
Yeah.
out, see what you got going on. I might have to holler at you for some tips.
Good. Yeah. Very stress free over there. For a second, I like boycotted Instagram because I was just, there was a lot going on, and I was like, I can't. It's very stress free. I
Okay.
like it.
Laid back land of Pinterest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
All right, Amanda. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on, sharing your experience, not just in DTP, but then after DTP, and continuing to invest in yourself, and what that experience has been like, overcoming some things, and really, just staying committed to your growth. I really appreciate you laying that out. And just, again, the whole point of this show is to show what is possible. Again, like, what is going on right now is not the final destination. Like
Mhm.
we can go anywhere we want to, but we can't quit. We can't give up. We have to keep going. We can't
Yeah.
let the lessons that we're currently experiencing hold us back. Those lessons are to help us. They're not to, they're not to hurt us. So thank you so much for sharing. I
Mhm.
hope that this was helpful for someone else out there. I hope that you're inspired, you feel empowered and motivated to really continue to work towards your goals and your dreams for your design business, because it is 100% possible. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. So we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.